Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Sisters After Dark.
Ooh.
It's Nichole. Very, very tired. Me.
Hi.
Hi.
Nichole, you committed to the hat. If you're on YouTube, you guys looking, she has a hat on,
What's
which
wrong with
I don't
the
think she's
hat?
ever recorded with the hat.
Oh, I haven't.
It just speaks to the vibe. But I will say, I do enjoy our After Dark sessions because for whatever the reason, we're just a little bit more like freaky and we're on it and just anything goes and we cuss a lot more. So it's kind of our
What's the
vibe.
word?
But
It's,
super excited here because we have our good friend Kara with us.
Yay.
What up, girl? Say hey to the listeners.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited about this. I've been wanting to come on this podcast and I'm just so glad you guys are having me. So thank you. And it's definitely after dark because it's 9:15 here, which normally I'm doing my bedtime rituals at this point.
I know. You're a trooper. Our girl's out on the East Coast and fuck this time change. I will say that until March, everyone. But you're feeling it extra hard. But we're so excited to have you. You're such a vibe. I love you.
This isn't the latest we've recorded because we recorded when we did the collabs with the guys. We were recording at 7:30 our time, which was 10:30 their time, and we didn't finish till almost 1 a.m. their time because we were done by like 10 p.m. here. That was rough.
For them, more. Yeah, but they
I think they're more night owls than we are.
Normal for them.
Yeah,
for sure.
I definitely feel like I'm my best, like my most productive self in the mornings.
For sure. Same. For sure.
Yeah.
Remind me your big three again. I know I've done your chart, but
you have done my chart.
I forget. I know you're a Taurus.
Do it again. Taurus Sun, Gemini Moon, Sag Rising.
Okay, the Gemini Moon that doesn't keep you up. Like Gemini Moons are just like free birds. Like they don't have problems. Maybe it's the Taurus that balances it out.
I get tired, but I have trouble sleeping. But I know it's like currently energetic thing.
Well, tell us about energy and energetics and chakras and blocks. I have so many questions. I'm so excited. Yeah.
I'm so glad you have all the questions.
Oh my God. Dive right in. Tell us. You guys, Nichole's on the
right now I have
Okay,
none.
so the vibe that okay, but that's true. She's going to pop in and be like, well, and then the inflection of the voice, which I personally love, you guys, like I love it. And then you'll see the Manny Jen that she is. Also, thanks to Elizabeth, she was like, okay, you drive, I vibe. And that's like the saying now. We finally came up with it. So Nichole.
Thank you.
I know. We love you. We all love you. So she's vibing until she wakes up a little bit and gets that boost of energy. But Kara,
Nothing is happening.
Jump right in, girl. Tell us how you got started. What's the vibe?
What is the vibe? Yeah. So you guys know I do a little bit of everything, right? So I'm an intuitive, but also meditation trained, breathwork trained, pranayama trained, yoga nidra trained, and an herbalist. So I also do oracle and tarot cards. So a little bit of everything. And I've been on this journey kind of like trying to figure out how to heal myself is how it kind of all started. And then just realizing that a lot of things that work for other people or other people say that works in terms of like, releasing emotions, just learning how like trapped emotions can impact like not just physical, but mental and emotional and spiritual well-being, and trying all these things that everyone's like, oh, this works, and none of it working for me. That kind of really set me on my path to look at like holistic, not just in terms of like movement, nutrition, and like mental well-being, but like energetic well-being, and also like plants and vibrations. So like coming together to bring all of that in, and then also how my intuition works, which I know I talked to you about this, Gab, after it happened, after my car accident, how I receive information has changed a lot lately. And then in terms of chakras, I started learning about those a few years ago. And really, basically, chakras, we have 7 that run through our body. Well, the 7th, technically the crown is right above our head, but we have 7 different systems. Like ancient Egypt, they believe there are 12. Some people will say there are more, but for this focus, just on the 7. And basically they're energy centers in our body, and they kind of control everything. So if one chakra is out of whack, it can definitely like cause like physical, mental, emotional issues. And so each chakra is related to like, there are different organs if you look at Chinese medicine, but also different emotions. So it's really it's really interesting. And I've done a lot of work. I remember years and years ago, probably like 2016 at this point, I was going to an acupuncturist and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was, sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
I was so tired. I was like working out, but like I just didn't have energy. Like there was just like something, I just like felt very drained all the time. And like, you know, the doctors were like, you know, blood pressure's fine, everything's fine. And I found this this like Chinese medicine person. I was living in DC at the time, and she was an acupuncturist. She was also an energy worker, and she's like, you know, your root chakra like really needs work. And I was like, what are you talking about? My root chakra, what? And then as she explained it to me, and as I learned more about it, I was like, this makes so much sense. So basically, like you guys, your root chakra is all about things that happen to you before the age of 7. And it's all about like, it's all about like safety, stability, and security. And so feeling like, you know, a lot of the things I hadn't dealt with yet, or things I thought I had dealt with, were actually from that age range. So I spent a few years just working on my root chakra.
Oh my gosh.
But it's something that's like, and now I'm working on it again. Like I've spent years working on the other chakras, but it's like now I'm back to the base 3, which I know you wanted to talk about. Yeah, the lower 3 chakras.
I'm in it right now. And so when you're very intuitive like we are, it's much easier to live in your upper 4 than it is in your bottom 3. But your bottom 3 are what keep you grounded and on planet Earth. And it's so that the soul feels safe enough to come into the body, to give you those divine messages, to exist as a 3D being. So I avoid those.
Yeah.
And I've gone
back up, because I don't know how many people have no idea what we're talking about. So back up. And start from the bottom.
Which is what she's doing. She's doing the root.
The root,
right.
Yeah.
But explain. So Gabby, maybe explain what all of them are and what it means to like live in your top 3, because I know what that means, but a lot of people probably have no idea what you're saying.
We had this conversation the other day, or literally earlier today, with our other sister. Shout out to Savannah in San Diego, our photographer. And in my mind, even though this doesn't pertain to this, but in my mind I'm like, oh yeah, everyone knows this, right? No, not everyone knows this. So
no, people don't know. So start from the beginning.
Do you want me to jump in, Gab?
Please.
Okay.
Just kidding, I love you.
So the 7 chakras, so we have the root chakra, which is located at the base of our spine. So kind of like think about like you guys, if you're just like sitting, like think about like where your, I guess you'd say like sit bone, like meets the base of your spine. And each chakra is also associated with a color. So I can like provide some info. Each chakra also is related to a certain sound frequency, as well as certain scents in terms of like incense or essential oils, as well as mantras and sounds. So the root chakra,
yoga poses, right?
Yeah, and yoga poses. And so the root chakra, like I was saying, it's located at the base of your spine. That color is red. And this is basically, as it is the root, it is your foundation for life. So it helps you feel grounded. It helps you like be able to withstand challenges. And it's the chakra that's responsible for security, safety, stability. And like I said, it typically is kind of anything that happened before the ages of 7 and 8.
Yeah, I see that often with sitters, especially with respect to like inner child wound. But you know what also really like trips me up? It's like before you're aware of it, right? So ages like it is before 7. but how are you cognizant of something that happens like when you're 2 or 3, and how does that land in your, this is a whole different conversation, but like how it lands in your subconscious, right? Because sometimes I'll see that in like the charts where they have wounding that's specific to the root and it is related to those younger years, but I almost wonder like how one would come about healing that if they're so young that they don't remember, you know? We were talking about inner child in the root and how when you're between like, you know, it's up to age 7, which is when the subconscious is developed. But I'm really curious as to like, you know, when people do past life regression or like emotion code, which I know you had thoughts about.
Oh, girl, I have thoughts.
She got thoughts. Oh. The emotion code releasing. How do you go about remembering?
It doesn't work.
Oh. There's some people out here that I know have read the book and work with it, so I would love to know what you think on that.
We're about to start now. Fights up in here. I'm awake now. I love the drama.
I had the book. I read the book like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And when it came out and I was reading it, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Yes, emotions get trapped in your body. And when I was reading all these testimonials and how they were released, right, which is they say by using a magnet and just 3 swipes or using the palm of your hand, I was like, there's no way, because these people aren't trained energy workers. Like, there's no way it could work, but like, okay, maybe. And then this September, after the accident, but before my mom's cancer diagnosis, I was like really going through it. The car accident was really intense. Like we're all fine, but my car was totaled and it could have been way, way worse. But like I was in the ER for a long time and I just like knew I wasn't processing some stuff from it. And so my friend who lives a block over from me in New York, her and her husband have a house upstate near the Omega Institute, which is like a pretty famous wellness institute. And she had just mentioned to me, I had like gone for a walk with her that day and she's like, oh, I'm on the board, something for the Omega Institute. I think you'd love that place. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe one day. Fast forward, I've bought the emotion code forever ago. I get this email. I've never gotten an email from the author, like from his company ever. And it's with his events and he's going to be at the Omega Institute in like 2 weeks. And so I just message her and I'm like, should I do this? Like, I think this is a sign. She's like, yeah, stay at my house for free. And I was like, she's like, it's 20 minutes from the Omega Institute. I was like, done. Okay. So we go there and it's 3 days. It's a Friday night and an all day Saturday and a half day Sunday. Friday night, he, picks people from the audience. I'm the youngest person, or youngest looking, I should say. Thank you, Puerto Rican genes. And most of the people are white and everyone was white actually. And he picks someone, he gives an intro. Most of the people have read the book. The majority of people had read the book, I'd say. And he's like, is there anyone experiencing pain? Whatever. So naturally from my car accident, I raise my hand and, I'm like, oh, here. And I point to the spots. And, he asks me, about the trapped emotion, and one of them was overwhelmed. And it can be inherited, AKA from your ancestors, right? Or it could be actually belong to you. And the way you get rid of the if it's inherited from an ancestor is, or your parents as well, like anyone other than you, is that you do 10 swipes instead of 3. And so there were a few emotions. I was up there, probably he said he released like 6 things, 6 trapped emotions, which I do think the emotions were right on. But then he's like, oh, how do you feel? And I was like, I feel the exact same. So then I get down and I remember thinking like, and Gab, you know this, and Nichole, I think you know this too. I'm super energetically sensitive. That's like one of my issues. I'm a Reiki Master. I feel when people work on me, like, so if you're releasing anything, I would feel it. And so the next day, we're going through the sessions and I'm like, I'm not sure, but like, maybe it's just me being skeptical. And how I have been getting my intuitive hits lately is it's just like this like knowing, I guess. I'm a knower, but it's become more of like a voice.
Nikki is too, and that's hard on its own. I'm just like,
right.
I don't even know how I would manage that.
That's
rough.
And I just heard this just pyramid scheme popped into my head. I was like, oh shit, is this guy a pyramid scheme? Because they talk a lot about God. And so that for me, you want to sell something to middle America and middle Americans, talk about God. So like that tracks with this crowd, the crowd of the emotion codes. So I was like, all right. And so I'm like, no, you're being, and I still do this and I have to learn not to. I'm still like, no, you're being judgmental, right? That's like my own wound. Fast forward to the third day, all these people are like, oh, did you sleep? Because, I don't sleep. Oh, have you been able to sleep? Like, nope, still can't sleep. Like, oh, well, I feel better. I'm like, no, I don't think you do, but okay. And so then his wife, it's the last day, and they're talking about something, and he keeps interrupting her. And so I say, like, let your wife talk. Like, what are you doing, sir? And so she's saying something, and she's like, yeah, when he had he's not a real, I was going to say he's not a real doctor. He was a chiropractor.
Oh, like Dr. Dispenza.
So he wasn't.
I was just thinking that, Nichole.
He was a chiropractor, not like an actual doctor. And not that actual doctors know anything either, but he was like,
medical board's coming for us now. Thanks.
Sorry. And his wife was like, oh, when he had the chiropractic, like the practice, the office, he would always get roped into these like conferences, like multi-level marketing things, which hello, duh, are pyramids. And as soon as she said that, I was like, that's the word I heard the day before. And I was like, oh yeah, you're a whole pyramid scheme. And then of course, the last hour of the conference is him trying to get people to buy his next book, The Body Code, and try to buy his course to be certified, which is like over $1,000. And so for me, it's like, yes, you are onto something in that emotions are trapped, but that's all you're onto. Like this whole how you release them, it's not a thing. And people that are saying they're healed, it's a placebo effect. Because that day I did, the Omega Institute has a wellness like spa. And if you are doing a course there, you get like 20% off. And so I was like, I'll just use my lunch break and do a session. And I often don't get Reiki. The truth is, and you'll understand this, Gab, I know you're getting certified now, but like you have to have someone whose vibration is higher than yours.
Yes. I'm so happy you said that because I wanted to talk about that.
And so it's really hard. And so no one Reikis me. And I was just like, booked this therapy called Integrative Energy Technique. And I'd never heard of it. And it didn't even say what modality is, but I was just like sold. And this woman who I got it with, she was exhausted after our session. She's like, there was so much on you and in you. And I felt hot. I felt cold. I felt pain. I felt it all. And so that just confirmed what I knew to be true, that like, yes, of course, emotions get stuck in our body. 1,000% fact. Does the emotion code work? No. It's the pyramid scheme. Yes.
I remember when I had my session with you. Sorry, Nichole, I don't mean to cut you off. I'll just make this point. When you had said that, and I was like, that makes so much sense. And that's also part of the reason why like certain people gravitate towards other healers. And I remember you just saying like, oh yeah, like, can you feel it? And that means like, you're obviously of a vibration in which like I could receive that. And my healing with you, by the way, I loved that. And I love the music that you put together. I felt it in my solar plexus, and I literally was like almost having to like shit myself after the fact and had to go to the restroom because it was that potent. And yeah, and solar plexus is digestion, so that makes sense.
Okay, so go back because we stopped at root. We haven't even gone to sacral. People don't know what solar plexus is. We need to like rewind.
Let me I'll rewind. Okay, so
I gotta keep everybody on track. I'm the parliamentarian here.
We do.
But can we also talk about how to heal them? too?
Well, you need to let her talk about them, and then she can talk about healing them, and then she can talk about how
I am so
she healed us.
So mean to me today. What is going on? What is going on?
Every time we record, she doesn't be mean to her. I'm just trying to keep us on track because we're 22 minutes in, and she hasn't even been able to get to what she's been trying to get to. So keeping everybody on track.
I'm so sensitive.
I'm exhausted. You're so sensitive.
Go look at YouTube. You can go on YouTube and see her hat, and that's Faye's little because she's never worn a hat as we record. It's also after dark. So, anyways, okay, please continue.
All right. So the next chakra, sacral, right?
Yeah.
So this is located like in your pelvic area.
Can we stop real quick? Can you give like just a quick recap since we talked about root like 10 minutes ago? What it is, the color. So you started saying the color, and then I think you were going to maybe share more.
Yeah. So the root chakra, it's basically like your foundation for life. It represents the color red. And it basically is responsible for like helping you feel grounded, feeling a sense of safety and security. There are certain mantras you can do. So, for example, I am safe, I am secure. And there's a sound frequency. It's 396 hertz, or a singing bowl with a musical note C. So something I like to do is, like I said, I have a lot of trouble sleeping. So I'll pick, depending on like what chakra I need work with or like what I'm feeling. If it's like anxiety or something, I'll pick a specific frequency. Like I'll go to YouTube, find that frequency and just like play that while I sleep. And then in terms of scents, so this could be like a good quality essential oil or actual incense. But for the root chakra, it would be clary sage, rosemary, cedarwood, frankincense, and rosewood.
Do you just know all this off the top of your head? Because I don't see you looking at anything. Like this is like you just know this. Like, oh wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, and I put together this whole document for my clients. Like one of the things I do is a chakra balancing meditation and healing, and then I give them this as a takeaway and some homework with it.
Love it.
And can I add? Yeah,
I'll give it to you guys. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you. Can I just add that also certain things get stuck when they're imbalanced? So, for example, I see a lot of people that grew up with scarcity mindset having root issues. Mm-hmm. So basic things like stability, finances, home life, that all falls into the 3D category that root chakras cover.
And most of the things, like the root really is your foundation. Like making sure you have a strong root chakra, like root chakra, almost everyone, there's something to work on there. And some people, it's more than others. That's just kind of like how it is.
What comes after the root, Kara?
Let's get it.
Thank goodness it's her and not someone else. Like just someone that we don't know very well, like our random stranger, and they would be like, these girls are a mess and I'm leaving. Goodbye.
No.
I would love to like observe another podcast show that has it together and just to see like how they get it done. Because I want to know.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is like how it goes, right? Like,
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah. And it works. So we're good.
It's a lot of editing to make it sound seamless.
Yeah, that's all you, Nichole.
Yeah, snaps. Okay, so root then.
So the sacral. So the sacral is located, it's basically below your belly button, pretty much like the whole pelvic area. And the color that's associated with the sacral is orange. And so this chakra, it's not surprising given where it's located, like in that pelvic region, the area below your belly button. But it's all about sensuality, sexuality, creativity, emotions, and your self-expression. And so mantras that are really great for strengthening this or helping to balance the energy are I am creative, I am full of joy, and I am fulfilled. And this one, it's a lot about just like feeling into your power in a creative aspect. And so this one, the sound frequency is 417 hertz. And scents that can be used are sandalwood, cardamom, sweet orange, neroli, and yingling.
Question.
Yes.
There they are.
doTERRA or Young Living?
Oh, ask Michelle that question. See what answer you get. Oh, why?
Because I feel like those are also both pyramid schemes. Young Living, I feel like used to be good, and then it's like this whole. Is that the one that's like a cult in Utah?
That's doTERRA, I think.
This used sense to me. Sorry. One of them are.
She's gonna get us canceled.
So I know I am. So I use, and this is why I can't have my own podcast because they're just gonna be.
That's why you need to have your own podcast.
So I use Anima Mundi. They are more expensive, but they are really high quality and sourced ethically from around the globe, and she pays fair wages. That's where I use all my herbs. She's a Costa Rican herbalist, and she's the founder of Anima Mundi. They have 2 stores here in New York City, and she sources most everything from her farm in Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So like I said, her oils are more expensive, but those are the ones I use.
Okay. And do you apply them like on your physical body? Do you have them as aromas in your space? How do you use them?
Yeah, so I make a spray. So instead of like buying, like not shocking to you guys, I don't use candles.
I try not to. Nicole's about them though. I don't know if you still are though, Nick.
I love the people, them, but I just like don't. So I make my own spray. So like I'll use one of the essential oils, like 10, 15 drops, 4-ounce, 6-ounce spray bottle, 20 drops if it's 6 ounces. But then you mix it with half, after you add the essential oil drops, you mix it with half witch hazel, organic witch hazel, and half filtered water. And that is like a room spray. I also use it on me. So like before this, before our podcast, when we were on a break, Gab, I was telling you about my chest pain. Like, am I dying or is it just anxiety about my mom? Yeah. Pretty sure it's just anxiety. Pretty sure I'm not dying. Right? You didn't see me dying in my chart this year?
No, I didn't. I just saw you having a hard year.
So you were right. And so...
I don't want to be, but...
I put like Palo Santo like on my chest. So sometimes I'll dab it, sometimes I'll make a spray. And I also, instead of candles, I love diffusers. So I have diffusers and I'll put the oils in them as well.
The only thing that I struggle with diffusers is that they have to be plugged in somewhere. And sometimes where I want them, I don't have an outlet. Yeah. So that's kind of the challenging.
I actually just discovered mold in my diffuser, so I'm like, Gabby,
you have to clean them. It's like a humidifier.
I did not know that. Yeah. I didn't know that. So, but I also, do you not use candles because they're toxic?
Yeah.
Except for beeswax, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and those are a small fortune.
Yeah.
I got a little Trader Joe's candle that's made out of beeswax recently.
Oh, I didn't know they had it there.
I didn't know either. I was burning it the day you were here.
I gotta go to Trader Joe's. Oh yeah, then I saw. I have apparently I bring things to Nicole's home, guys, which I didn't know. But I was like, maybe I'm just bringing them to light, and they've been there, you know?
Anyway, so sacral or solar? What are we on next?
You're right. We're on solar. Solar. This is a big one. Okay, so this is the area like right at your belly button, a little bit above your belly button. This color that resonates with your solar is yellow. And this is all about your confidence, your self-esteem. It helps you feel in control of your life. It's literally what people mean when they refer to like your gut instincts. It's confidence, it's boundaries, it's your inner peace. So this is really all about, like, some people will say, you know, they'll facilitate between your self-worth being sacral, solar. It's really a combination of the both. It's kind of like, so if I could sum it up in one word, your self-worth is in both your sacral and solar plexus.
That's where I carry my Yeah, that's where I carry my weight.
Me too.
Like, that's
me too.
Just
And a mantra for this is I'm strong and I am capable. And the sound frequency for this chakra is 528 hertz. And the scents for this are rosemary, ginger, lemongrass, and sandalwood.
P.S. for the listeners out there, I will be negative about that. Actually, it's not even negativity. It's honesty. It is hard. to heal the lower 3 chakras? Tell me that it's fun, because it's not.
That it took years for the root, and now I'm back to the root.
Yeah.
Currently.
We'll have to get into that, but please proceed, because I could get derailed.
Next, heart
Not
chakra.
you.
The good old heart chakra. So this is green. And of course, it's kind of obvious, right? Heart chakra. This is all about our compassion, our empathy, forgiveness. It's associated with unconditional love and compassion and joy. But it also is where we hold grief. So there can be a lot here. It's not just about love. It's also where we hold grief and store sadness. And so a really great mantra for working with your heart chakra is I am loved, and I love freely and receive love freely. And this sound frequency is 639 hertz. In some sense for the heart are neroli, rose, sandalwood, geranium, and frankincense.
I have a question. So you've mentioned sandalwood a couple times and frankincense a couple times. So sometimes, they'll work with multiple chakras.
Mm-hmm.
So exactly. if you're using, let's just say, frankincense, would you need to use it differently if you were using it for one versus the other?
Nope.
Okay.
I will say, as I've gone through heart chakra upgrades this year, that is the only chakra that I've experienced that's been, aside from my sacral, which is a whole separate conversation, that's been painful. Like heart chakra upgrades, I'm like, this fucking hurts. And I'm like, this isn't anything like to be concerned about, but it's more energetic. And I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, that's literally my heart chakra now. I work with this witch. She's amazing. I'm not going to give her info because I'm hoarding her to myself.
What do we call it? The kids call it these days? Gatekeeping?
I'm gatekeeping her.
Yeah.
Her name is Rose Green. She's amazing. And I work with her, and she's like, I don't even have words to explain her. And I did a session with her when she was in New York. She's Mexican. And I did a session with her when she was in New York at my friend's apartment and where she was staying, who's also a healer and a hypnotherapist. And she does energy work and channeling. She's intuitive, but she also does massage. And so she did a massage, but was also working on like releasing emotions. And she got to my heart. And oh my God, that's actually where I still have pain sometimes. This was like sometime in September, the end of September. So it was right before I found out about my mom, but after the car accident. No, it was right after I found out about my mom. And she did something here and it hurt so bad. And she's like, your heart. And like, since then I've had those like stabbing pains where I'm like, oh, like you said, like, am I dying? Do I go to a walk-in in Brooklyn? Like, nope, probably fine. Keep breathing. But yeah, your heart chakra, because it holds, not only does it hold love, like I said, it holds pain and grief and stored memories. And especially if, as I'm learning now, when you really love someone and they're sick or something and you are a healer or you are energetically sensitive, you do everything you can to try to take that person's pain. And so that can be it as well, even without you realizing you're doing it. On a soul level, your soul wants to help the soul, And so,
did you already say the frequency for that?
639.
Okay, so okay, because I didn't know that number. Okay,
and the next big one, your fifth one, is the throat chakra. So of course, this is our communication hub, right? It's where we find our voice, how and where we speak our truth. It's associated with speaking up for ourselves, expressing ourselves, but also hearing and being heard. This color is blue, and the mantras are, I am expressive and speak my truth. The sound frequency is 741 hertz. And this has some different scents. So Roman chamomile, peppermint, rosemary, cypress, and eucalyptus.
That's so interesting because I will say when I'm in the state of reading as a medium as opposed to a psychic, because it's different, different approach, I feel more of what the soul is giving me through my throat and my heart chakras than I do elsewhere. And it's not like it's a physical sensation that you feel, and it's not always the most pleasant. So that's really interesting. And it's actually, I don't think I just really put this together, even though it makes sense. I don't think I put together that like the frequency for the throat is higher than the heart. So that's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Sit with that.
So there's something, this is like a whole different thing, but at the beginning I think I mentioned that different, there are like different chakra systems according to like, Egypt, India, but the agreed upon here is like, we have 7. But in ancient Egypt, there's actually, and if you're doing healing work, they actually say that, like I mentioned, there's more chakras, but there's actually one, they call it a second heart chakra. And it's actually located between your throat and heart. So there's like an inner heart.
What does that represent?
And so it's actually like that's the gateway to unconditional love and the higher consciousness, unlocking that.
I want that activated and upgraded selfishly within myself.
Yeah. And so it makes perfect sense when you say that you channel differently and you use your throat and heart for that. You might be tapping into that. I'm not sure.
Well, I went
there is a separate area to be unlocked.
I went through, I haven't shared this publicly, I will in time, but I had a session after because I cover my bases from a health perspective with one of our OG readers. And she was doing energy work on me as we were going through the session, and she's very strong, and you can tell she's been at it for a long time because she was just looking at me and like I could see she wasn't moving her hands or anything like that, but she was doing energy work. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I can see you working on my heart chakra. And she's like, yeah, that's your soul embodying your human body and your soul integrating. And she's like, that's the essence and the vibration of love. And I was like so emotional. I was crying. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it just made me realize, I was like, I don't know that I'm really ever in that frequency as often as maybe embodied people are.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense because it's much easier, especially as a doer, right? Like in a productive person, it's much easier to not live heart-centered. That doesn't mean you're not kind. It doesn't mean you aren't loving. It just means you're approaching things from a different vibration, for sure.
Yeah. You're giving me a lot to sit with here. Okay. So what's the next one?
I know you guys were going to say that. Next one. All right. Third eye. So third eye, it's located right between your forehead. This is like typically what people say is our center of intuition and foresight. So it's driven by basically being open and also your imagination. This color is indigo, and this sound frequency is even higher. It's 852 hertz. And the scents here are patchouli, clary sage, sandalwood again, and cypress.
Sandalwood seems to be really common.
Yeah. It's that and frankincense. If you can only get 2, if you want to spend your money and buy really good quality oils, I would say frankincense and sandalwood.
I like the smell of both.
Would be the 2. Yeah, would be the 2 I would say to get. Yeah, and the mantras for the third eye are I trust my intuition and I experience clarity. And then the last one, the crown chakra. So this is located just a little bit above your head. And this is the chakra that's all about spiritual connection and transformation. So it lifts you, it inspires you, it connects you to the divine. Some people call it like angelic energy, spirit, source, God. And it gives you a sense of kind of your own divinity. The awareness that you are actually a soul in a human body. And the color for this is violet or deep purple. The sound frequency is 963 hertz. The mantras, I'm connected to the divine and at peace. And the scents are frankincense, neroli, rose, and sandalwood.
Sandalwood. What's it like to be claircognizant, you guys? Like, that just seems like that would really be challenging for me. Yeah.
Where did that question come from?
Because that's the crown.
And I was like, what? I was trying to make connection. Like, where is she going with this?
Well, no, because you say you're just like, it's just so hard to know. Like, you just knew that, like,
your husband
was, your husband was going to shrink the sock when you were in Europe, and you're just like, I just knew. So what's that like?
Well, that has nothing to do with that.
But that was one example that comes to me.
I think it's just hard to, I don't know. It's just because you just know something, but there's no evidence for you to know something. Like, you don't have anything to back up. Well, this is why I think this is happening, or this is why I know this is happening. So then you just look crazy or sound crazy, because it's like, well, I know that fill in the blank. Well, how do you know that? I don't know. I just know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it doesn't work in relationships. When you know someone's cheating on you and you're like, I just know you're cheating on me. Well, how do you know? Right? Well, I just know. Like, I don't have proof, but I just know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's different. And like I said, I get things differently, but the knowing has always been, it was the first and the strongest for me.
That's so cool.
So I was looking at the phone when you were sharing the frequencies, because a lot of them correspond with the phone keypad. 963, 369, right? 852 was one, or 528, 741.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you were saying it, I was like, this is like the phone. So what are they again? So the let's see, the roots.
Starting with the root, that's 396.
Yeah, so 396. We can't see.
The sacral is 417.
Uh-huh.
The solar is 528.
Uh-huh.
The heart is 639.
Yep.
The throat is 741.
Uh-huh.
The third eye is 852.
Yep.
And the crown is 963.
Yeah, they all go in line with the phone.
Where did you pick that up? Where did you just put that together?
Yeah, when she was saying them, yeah.
I'm so mind fucked right now.
That's what I'm here to do. Fuck everybody's minds.
Yeah.
Did it feel good?
Yeah, it did. I want more.
Oh, I'll give you more.
One more time, please.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder. Okay, so I've always been very fascinated with the frequencies. And how does it work? So if you're working on the heart chakra and you say, okay, I'm going to listen to this frequency of music, how does that work to heal the chakra, or to work on it, or to get it more balanced? Like, what is how?
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys have heard of like sound healings, like sound bowls and sound baths. People do. Them. So this goes back to ancient times, again, like ancient Egypt, like before that. There were a group called the Hathors, and they were all about healing through sound. And that was a way they would actually heal people. They had this group called the Hathors had that ability. That's just one I know of. I'm sure there are others from different types of civilizations. And the world is energy, right? Like everything is energy and a frequency. And so then there was research done. I think if you go back to I think it's in the 70s, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but it's called the solfeggio frequencies.
Solfeggio, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And each frequency kind of ties back to an emotion, and it's actually what maps back to the chakras. So your subconscious mind recognizes, like your soul, your subconscious mind recognizes those frequencies and allows it, like your mind to relax and your body to process a healing, which is why I love listening to them. Like I said, like I'll find, there's this, I listen to, like, I'll put it in YouTube, but there's one I really like. I think it's called Meditative Mind is the channel, but they do really beautiful. It's not singing bowls, because I I don't love this sound bowls, like depending on how people play them all the time, but these are just really beautiful instrumentals in those frequencies, and they'll loop for between 8 and 11 hours. And so like I'll put it on right when I go to bed. Or sometimes if I'm doing yoga nidra, I'll have it quietly in the background. But I will listen to one every night. And lately I've been listening to 396 for my root.
Okay. I love that.
And then it's really interesting if you want to map back your chakras to Chinese medicine and the organs. That's like a whole other level. So for example, your liver maps to anger as the emotion, and that is your solar plexus.
Yep. I know a lot about that.
Yep. And so I remember at one point last year, I went to the doctor and I stopped drinking, not just because my anxiety was getting higher and whatever. I just like don't love drinking anymore. And I prefer mushrooms now. And I was like, how are my liver enzymes high? What are you talking about? I don't even drink. You're crazy. Am I dying? It's always my go-to. Am I dying? What's wrong with me? And I like 6 months later, nothing changed. I had just done more spiritual work and my liver enzymes were fine.
I have an experience with that recently. This whole year, I've talked about it. After I got my first Reiki attunement and I started going hard with the readings, started getting these really annoying red spots on my feet. And
Are you sure you don't have hand, foot, mouth?
Yeah, I'm sure. I've had them for a year. See, you guys, she's so mean to me. That's okay. That one doesn't bother me as much because I know it's not true.
Or is it? I don't know.
Well, we went to the same herbalist, and which you are too, Kara. And she was able to diagnose literally everything by touching my big toe. She looked at my
big
foot.
toe. Yeah, that's one that tells her everything.
And I was like, and I asked her, I was like, because Nichole, you have your own experience. I don't know if you want to share it now or later, but she literally, I was like, you're reading me on a psychic level, are you not? And she's like, I'm trying not to, but your feet pretty much tell me a lot of what I need to know. And then she gave me all of these herbs that pretty much corrected it. And it's been like 2 weeks and it looks a lot better. And mind you all, I had this problem for over a year and it was liver stagnation, because liver on a spiritual level also protects you from negative entities. So when you are doing the spiritual work, staying grounded, doing your protocols, protections are extremely important. And the organ that's doing the work is the liver. So when you're drinking, your defenses are down. So
I remember one time I called our friend Abby, who I think you just had on.
Hey, girl.
I remember, hey, Ab, I was in San Juan last February, and part of why I don't sleep is because sometimes stuff comes to me in my dreams. I heal others, heal myself, get things in dreams, or like in that state where I'm not fully asleep, but I'm not fully awake. And I remember I was in Old San Juan, and I just remember like getting home and feeling a little funky and thinking like, fuck, something's on me. And like, I remember in my dream, it, like something said, like a voice again, it was like, you have an attachment. I couldn't get it off myself. It's great to have friends like this. I called Abby. I was like, I have an attachment, I'm pretty sure. Can you get it off me? And she's like, yeah, you do. Yeah, I can. And I was drinking that night in Old San Juan.
Interesting.
Imagine the functioning alcoholics and everything that they have within their aura.
Well, it's so funny you were saying that, and then I want to move on. But you were saying how anger is connected to the liver. And I think it's really interesting that a lot of angry men tend to be alcoholics.
Alcoholic. Yep.
And right, we know that alcohol directly affects the liver.
Yep.
So I think that's really just an interesting correlation. Okay. Yes.
Oh, are we just pointing it out for angry men? Because I can man hate all day. I think that applies to women too, but just wanted to know.
It's more common in men because I've talked about this before with Anna Marie, right? Men are going to be misdiagnosed or not diagnosed as depressed. They're going to be slapped with an anger issue. And most angry men drink. Not all, but most of them, right? I would say that's probably something they have in common.
The patriarchy.
Okay. So all of this information about chakras and the frequencies and the scents and all of the things that can be used. So how do you specifically work on healing, or how do you help people work on healing these? And I know we were lucky enough to be your beta guinea pigs, but what are you doing? What are you offering?
Yeah, well, you guys actually got to experience my new offering.
Loved it.
But
So
I
good.
also offer meditations and healings, and my meditations are more about like shamanic journeying and a little bit of hypnosis and brain repatterning. So with the chakras specifically, I do a chakra balancing meditation. It's about a 30-minute meditation, just the meditation portion, where we run through each chakra. We do visualization techniques as well as mantras and sounds.
Oh.
I then give you a recording. I have a recorded meditation that typically I will ask people to do for 30 days, and it just helps you balance your whole body. Separately, if there's deep work to be done, I do specific meditations for each chakra. So, for example, right now I'm doing my own 20-minute or 25-minute root chakra one every night before bed. And so that just kind of helps move the energy. It's visualization, it's sound, it's breathing, and it's really an active meditation followed by a healing. And doing that for 30 days, whether it's we're just working on one or all of them, depending on what the person needs, you will feel a difference. I felt a difference. Like, I'm still having anxiety, but I went from not sleeping at all to, once I started doing my just my root chakra meditation, I'm able to now sleep. The past week, I've been able to sleep total 5 hours a night.
Oh, wow.
Not all at once, but it's a lot better than I was not sleeping at all.
Yeah, it feels like the codes in that is really powerful. I feel like I got to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. And then the new one that we got to do.
What you guys did.
I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And so, yeah, this is about, like I said before, and you guys heard my little rant about the emotion code. And I'm like, oh, this shit doesn't fucking work. So sorry on here.
Oh, no, we cuss all the time.
And so I was just getting really mad. I'm like, all this shit is so expensive. There's so many people. Everyone's dumb. Why is nothing working? And so finally, I just took all my training and combined my shit into this awesome offering, which I'm so excited about. And I need someone to do it on me, actually. But it's breath work. It's really intense breath work. So I just want to clarify for people out there, there's breath work, right? And then there's pranayama. Pranayama is yogic breath. You're sitting and typically there are breath holds involved in it, and it's used to connect mind and body for meditation practice, aka yoga. Breath work is something entirely different. Breath work is what we did in the offering. It's also work. It's work. It's also called conscious connected breathing. It's where there's no pause between the inhales and exhales. There's constant breathing and you're laying down. This can be any type of breath work, from Wim Hof, transcendental, heart opening. It goes by a ton of different names. What we did is called circular breathing. And it's where you use your belly, your lungs, and your exhaling. And what you're doing, it's a really intense breath work for about 25 minutes. And as you guys know, you move a lot of energy. And it's all about, the offering is called Rebirth Through Release. And it's all about moving all that stagnant energy and what's holding you back, loosening it, moving it. And then we move into a guided visualization, meditation, all over curated playlists. And we release
amazing playlist. So good.
And we do the meditation, and whether it's a person you're releasing, a relationship, a career, a habit, a self-limiting belief, an older version of you, it can be many things. Whatever it is, you've done the work to move the energy out of your body You're doing the meditation to peacefully and compassionately let go and literally bury, and then bringing in healing energy, and all infused with Reiki energy.
Yeah, it was so good.
And then you didn't get to experience this, Nichole, but Gab, you did. I also do an intuitive piece about what you need to let go of, and then also provide you with journal questions. I came up with 5 different scenarios of journal questions. A lot of them are around fear, different types of fear, journal prompts for a takeaway after.
Yeah, I was literally running to the bathroom right after it was all said and done. That's how much energy we moved, you guys. So it's very real and very effective, and I loved it.
Thank you. The first time I did it, they call it psychedelic breath work, which I didn't really understand. And then the first time I did it, I was so angry. I hated it so much. And because it's hard to do.
It's so hard.
And I hated it. And it's like 10 minutes in, I was like, fuck this. And then my guide was like, no, like keep going. And then I felt euphoric. And I was like, what is happening? And then I just started to cry. I was like, what is happening?
I was waiting for the crying when I was doing it. I was like, okay, when's it? Oh, there it is. Like right towards the end. I think I told you, I was like, I was like waiting to cry. I finally cried. Yeah.
It's the breath really is, especially as I know I've mentioned this a few times, but my anxiety's gotten higher. Like I've been doing a lot more breath work the past 2 months myself, a lot more.
Yeah.
Yes.
And incorporating it into my meditations.
And the breath is the first thing and the last thing that's with you upon your moment of birth and your last breath, literally, and upon death. So, yeah.
That's all we got.
I love this episode. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Where can people find you?
Guys, I'm very bad at the Instagram.
Get on it. You have a couple weeks before this comes out.
I know,
that's your task to do
me. I know. You can find me at Sealth Wellbeing or my website, sealthwellbeing.com. Sealth, soul health and soul wealth, Sealth, so SEALTH, wellbeing.com. You can find all my offerings, book, and I'll give your listeners a little discount. We'll get a code up.
We love that.
You guys, I'll make sure I get it to you this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that. They'll appreciate it too. And I got to take advantage of some of those meditations. So, especially since we're going into the winter solstice and they're effective. So, yeah.
Yes. I will send you guys the chakra meditation.
Oh, thank you. I would love to do that before bed.
I need to get my astrology.
Oh, yeah.
In 2024 because it fucking has to be better. I can't.
Girl,
Mom's cancer, car accident, unemployed.
Yeah.
2024 has got to be better, y'all.
We'll take a look.
Okay. I'm holding you to that.
Okay. Well, thank you. We're going to let you get to bed because it's what, 10:30?
10:30.
Please look at me past my bedtime.
I'm ready for bed already too.
Thank you guys so much.
I love
guest, and I'm going to reach out so I can book my reading with you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you guys next time, right, Nichole?
Yes. Without a hat.
She's without a hat. I love your hat. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know. It's just a 5-hour drive.
She's
so
from
tired.
Wherever you were at. Yeah. And holiday traffic, no less. But okay.
Okay, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.